is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? What's going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsYJr. This is the Victor Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYJr, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your podcast. Come on into the room. It's been a while. This is a live show. Yeah, we're live. Drop your comments. Let me know who you are, where you're from, what school you represent, who you are, where you're from, what school you represent. Because today we are going to go to media contract education 101. You know, some of y'all went to college, some of y'all did, but it's okay. We're all going to be educated today. Shout out to Scotty from Offscript. Scotty from Offscript got his hands on the SWAC media deal that they have in place currently with ESPN, and it is boo-boo. It is garbage. It is not good at all, but it is only going to get better. I'm going to explain why and what HBCU Go had to do with it. Shout out to 06 to the good bros, as always. 06 to the good bros. Come on in. Just shout out to you, man. Shout out to you and 06 to our great fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha. Sit back, relax, buckle up your seatbelts because we are going to media school tonight, right here on the Victory Formation Sports Show. After the bumper, stay tuned. What is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? My name is JeffLightsYJr. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYJr, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Come on, we're filing on into the room. Hit that thumbs up button as you come in. Drop your comments because this is a live show, so I'm going to be taking a look at your comments. We'll probably, take a few calls later too. But today we are here to talk about the SWAC media deals that they currently are under, the media deals that they have with ESPN, and some of the other deals that they have and that they're currently abiding by. Yes, there is a media battle. It's not, I don't know if I'd call it a media battle, Sylvester, but there is a trash ESPN deal that is out there. It's pretty bad. It's worse than I thought. I had no idea it was this bad. I thought it was actually a little better than this, but it's actually really, really bad. And let's get right into it. So Scotty presented, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen on Scotty's broadcast. This was his broadcast that he did a few days ago, talking about the ESPN deal. And as you see, these are the numbers for the years from the 2019-2020 year through 2024 through 2025. And if you can see right here, the first from 1920 year, athletic year, the SWAC got $400,000. Now you got to remember, even at that time with 10 teams, there are 12 teams now, but with 10 teams, it's not very much money. It's about $40,000 per school, but you got to take out the SWAC's cut because the SWAC gets a cut of the media deal. So they get a cut of that. So we're talking under $40,000 per school, 10 schools, but then by the 21-22 year, it only went up to $430,000, and you added two more schools, the two Florida schools, Bethune-Cookman and FAMU. And so now that pie, instead of getting divvied up 10 ways or 11 ways, it's getting divvied up 12 ways or 13 ways if you add the SWAC's cut, because they have to get a cut because they are the conference. The conference always gets a cut. It's just how it works. So these are not good numbers at all. Not good numbers. And shout out to Scotty for getting these, because I hadn't seen anybody. I haven't seen anybody else with these numbers. He's the first person. He's the only person that I've seen. And that is impressive on his part for being able to get that. Now, this isn't good. But we have to talk about how media deals are structured. How are media deals created? Well, I will tell you that. I actually have a background in media relations and media deals. We don't know, because most HBCU games, even during this time, were streamed and not, Miracle Sports. It's pretty bad. But because most HBCU football games, because most media deals are structured around football games. That's what the bread and butter for sports in America is football. The games that get the most viewers, the most eyeballs, the most advertising dollars, the most money is football. We just had 113 million people watch a football game, the Super Bowl. Another 118 actually tuned in to see Rihanna perform, but 118 have watched the football game. And out of the top 20, right, the top 20 most watched TV programs in American history, 17 of them are football games. Right? Like 17. There's like the MASH reunion and Roots are the only ones, non-football games, or one of the 2 or 3 that are non-football games that have gotten 100 million viewers or more. So this is what we're talking about. Football is big money here in the States. And so this deal is peanuts. Well, at least it looks like peanuts. Well, it is peanuts. It ain't nothing. We're talking about $400,000 or even $475,000 for 12 schools in a conference. That's pretty low. But here's what we have to consider. In 2019, when Commissioner McClellan signed this deal, there was no Deion Sanders in this conference. And some of you will say, oh, we don't need Deion Sanders to get better deals. No, you don't need Deion, but you need eyeballs. And I ain't talking about the eyeballs at the games. See, here's the thing. The SWAC has always had schools who attend games really, really well. Like Jackson State has led the FCS in attendance for forever. FAMU has great attendance. Southern has really great attendance in the FCS. Like, they've got schools that have great attendance. But I'm not talking about the butts in the seats at the games. I'm talking about the eyeballs at home. That's why you'll see these bowl games all throughout bowl season within stadiums, stadiums that fit 50,000, 60,000 people, 45,000 people, and have like 10,000 people there. And you're wondering, like, why in the hell is this game on TV? Or why in the hell does this game even exist? Right? Well, it exists because, albeit there's only like 10,000 people at the game, there's 2 million people watching at home. And 2 million people is a lot of people to present to an advertiser. 2 million people, well, I can sell some ads when I know there's an average of 2 million people watching. And so advertisers, they clamor to those bowl games. That's why there's bowl games that pop up out of the wazoo, because for some reason, us Americans, we love watching football. Even if it's 2 teams we don't necessarily think are that good. Now, they're bowl eligible, so they should be decent or okay. But even they don't have to be that great. And so anyway, what does this have to do with the SWAC? The SWAC didn't have any eyeballs watching it. In 2019, when Commissioner McClellan signed this deal, ESPN's only offering $400,000 because there's nobody watching your games. People are tailgating like crazy. People are going to the games. They're going to the classics. They're going to the games. They're doing everything. Shout out to DJ Scrap Dirty. Shout out to DJ Scrap Dirty. All of these people are in the building. So the people that want to see these games are going to the games. But when they're streaming them on ESPN Plus or putting them on ESPN 37, nobody's watching them. So McClellan, Commissioner McClellan, that is going to sign a deal that best suits the conference. Now you'll say, yo, like, this don't best suit the conference. Well, it probably reflects the idea of the people that were watching at home. Yeah, we were watching the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. Yeah, there were some people watching. There wasn't a whole lot of people watching. You know how I know this, and I hate to say it like this, because the outsiders, people that didn't go to HBCUs, they weren't watching. They weren't watching. I'm an outsider. I wasn't watching in 2019 when this deal was signed. That's not to say that the deal is any good. It's not good, but it reflects the people watching at home, which just wasn't very many. Now, shout out to Scotty. Did a great job. He went on the show. The deal, he did a good job when he pointed out when Deion signed. Let me skip ahead on his video. He talked about when, okay, here we go. So with Deion, so he shows when Deion joined the conference, Commissioner McClellan was able to renegotiate. Let me see. There we go. Okay, so he renegotiated. So remember those original numbers. He was able to renegotiate, and he got to this. This is what he showed. And shout out to him, man. He did great work on this. Now he's able to renegotiate for those final 3 years. The 2021-22 season, 22-23 season, and then the 23-24 season. And so instead of previously being like, the last one, the 23-24 season being $475,000 split 12 ways. You got 700. So you went up $300K. Increased by 3. It literally says right here, rights fees, section 4.1, agreement 2021, because they renegotiated when Deion signed in 2021. So you look at it this way, you're upped it by $300,000. Now here's the thing. If you're ESPN, you technically don't have to renegotiate. You don't have to you don't have to renegotiate, but it's in good faith. If you say, okay, you brought in a major media entity, which is Deion Sanders at Jackson State. We want to make sure Deion's on our program because Deion's going to get eyeballs. Deion's highlights, his teams are going to get eyeballs. Deion is going to be able to do these different type of things. So yeah, we'll cut you a bigger check because we know we're going to make all of that back and some with Deion. And so it goes up $300,000. Once again, shout out to Scotty for figuring all this out, getting all this done. And it's still pretty like $760,000 for 12 teams plus a conference, because the conference got to get their cut, is still a measly. I think he did it for just the 12 teams. It's like $600,000. I mean, $60,000 per school. Still peanuts. Still very, very small. Like, it's still a small percentage. No one is denying that. Now, I'm not sitting here denying that. But what I will say is, to get it going from now, you can say ESPN Plus made $5 billion Q3, but how much of that came from the SWAC? Like, you can say that, yes, but they streamed 10 billion things. Like, you can't say 5 billion was made from SWAC football. How much was that from the advertising from all the other things that are from Peyton's Places, with Peyton Manning and different things? But let me not get ahead of myself. Okay, so this is, I mean, still very low. It's 60,000. But see, here is the caveat. Here's where the game changed, because this isn't anything. It still ain't a whole lot of money. What I will say, because I think he pointed this out, this comes in July, whatever, after the spring season, whatever. They're getting some feedback. They're getting data back about, essentially, and they were able to essentially because college football played in the fall of 2020, the spring of 2021 was wide open. And so the SWAC was actually, if you guys remember back then, during the height of the pandemic, COVID, the SWAC was featured on ESPN regular and ESPN2 on Saturdays. Like, I was able to watch Jackson State versus Alabama State on ESPN, and in a couple of other different schools. They mainly were showing Jackson State because of Deion. Obviously, they're going to bump it up because of Deion. And so all of that is like, it's still peanuts, still not a whole lot of money. Not denying that. It's just still not a whole lot of money. But then there's something that happened, right? There's something that happened in August of 2022. Hold on. Let me show you. There was something that happened in August of 2022. And this was an article written by our good brother over at HBCU Legends, Cal T. Mosley. In August of 2022, not ESPN, the SWAC, Commissioner McClellan, the same one who did sign the horrible deal, up the ante. Byron Allen, historic HBCU Go deals with the SWAC and CIAA, long overdue. Global distribution for the SWAC and CIAA will be achieved with Byron Allen's HBCU Go and profitability and protection, blah, blah, blah. So the SWAC struck a deal with Byron Allen and HBCU Go. The deal it's come out now. It was 10 years. I'm trying to see if they show it. 10 years, $120 million. 10 years, $120 million. So yeah, one source told me, and Curtis Simons came on this program, the HBCU Go founder, said it's 10 years, $120 million for a secondary deal. Now you got to remember, ESPN are prime media rights holders. Their primary deal is worth $760,000 a year. It's not a lot of money. This is for everybody, for the entire conference, and for the conference itself to air its games. They pay $760,000 for the primary deal. Whoa, what's going on? Discover, we don't need to see you right now, sir. For the primary deal, Byron Allen, HBCU Go, came in with a secondary deal Now, secondary deal ain't supposed to be worth as much. But because of the renaissance of HBCU football, because of Deion Sanders, because of the more notability, notoriety, publicity, everything, because that light had been shined, and because more people know about HBCU football, probably more than ever at this point, Commissioner McClellan was able to knock a secondary deal out of the park and sign a 10-year, $120 million deal, which pays you an average of $12 million per year. Think about this. You're going from your primary deal that pays you $760,000 to a secondary deal that'll pay you $12 million per average per year. That is amazing. That's nothing to sleep at. We can't act like that's not a. Now, is it the $3 billion deal that the SEC gets? No, but you don't get SEC eyeballs. You don't get Big Ten eyeballs. But to get to go from 475,000 to 760 to 12 million is a big deal. Because guess what? What this does now, now the fact that you have a secondary deal that pays you $12 million when your primary deal ends at the end of the 24-25 fiscal year, you're going to have to cut the check because now I can't take less than $12 million per year. I can't take less than $12 million per year because I just signed a secondary deal that pays me 12 per. So I can't take less than that. So that means if you want the primary deal, whether it's HBCU Go, whether it's HBCU League Pass, whether it's CBS Sports, NBC Sports, ESPN, Turner Sports, whoever it is, you're going to have to cut the check that's more than 12 per year. So it'll probably be closer to 20 per year or maybe even 25 per year. But a standard has been set. A bar has been set, meaning if my secondary deal pays me $12 million per year, then my primary deal has to be more than that. And so think about this, because previously, and this is why when folks say, the SWAC, they don't do everything right. But think about this. You used to get one deal. You didn't have a primary and a secondary. You had one deal with ESPN that paid you $400,000 a year. $475,000 was the max. So think about this. You went from $400,000 a year from one deal for all players in the conference itself. One deal, $400,000, to your secondary deal being $12 million and rights to negotiate the primary deal in just a few years. I mean, hello? I mean, please stop me when something doesn't sound right. Let me look at some of your comments. Vantage point, I respect. Should be aiming for sure. Yes, and you have to think, yes, Jamie, you're right. But 400,000 is bad. You can even say 760,000 is bad. But to go from that, because that's where you're starting at. You can say that's bad. That's like somebody starting with $2, flipping it to $4, flipping it to 10,000. Now you can say, well, you're actually worth 10 million, right? But I just had $2 and now I went to 10,000. Because how many times does 400,000 go into 12 million? I mean, I don't know. And it's 12 million per year. It's not 12 million lump sum. This is 12 million per year. Now, I'm not a math whiz, but 12 million, I just pull out a quick little calculator. 12 million divided by 400,000 equals, that's 30 times. In your secondary deal, you just 30x'd your former primary deal. Is that not good business? Is that not good business? You 30x'd your former primary deal with a secondary deal. And now you can also, instead of just all being streaming, because that's all SWAC games were, they were all on ESPN Plus. That's streaming. Instead of all just being streaming, which you are streaming on HBCU Go, you also can watch it on your local news. You can watch it on your local CBS station in cities like Louisville, where I'm from, or Atlanta, or Birmingham, or in Florida, or in Texas, in several hundred cities across this country. So more eyeballs. People who just flipping through the channels on Saturdays are going to run across SWAC games, are going to run across CIAA games. And potentially, if they work out a deal with the MEAC, going to run across MEAC games on accident. And you 30 extra former deal with the chance to get another primary deal. How can we not act like that doesn't matter? We can't act like that isn't good business practices. We can't act like, come on. Like, are we acting like that's not something you should tip your cap to? Because think about it. If you go from, let's just use your salary. Let's just use your salary. So some of y'all work, some of y'all own businesses, some of y'all in the money make. We all in the money making business. We all got to eat. We got to feed our families. We got to do whatever. If you was making $400,000 a year, it's pretty damn good. Now that's 400 is too much. Let's do 40,000. If you was making $40,000 a year, $40,000 a year to feed all 12 of your kids. It's pretty damn hard. You, the parent, and y'all combined make $40,000 a year. Y'all got to feed 12 kids on $40K. Some of y'all might have grew up like that. Y'all know that's a struggle. That's tough. That's rough. But then all of a sudden, you hustle, you grind, you learn a trade, you learn some kind of skill, and you take your salary from or however much you bring it home a year, from 40,000 to 1.2 million. Don't you think it'll be a lot easier to feed your kids? Don't you think, instead of them same old hand-me-downs y'all been wearing, y'all can start, getting new stuff? That same TV, the fatback TV, you can now get a flat screen. Don't you think your house you can add a few more rooms to your house? You can upgrade, fix, and plug. And think about it, in a couple of years, by 2025, you can go from 1.2 million to, I don't know, 3 million a year, 3.5 million a year. I mean, come on, y'all. We have to make it make sense. And so, I'm not saying that the SWAC isn't worth, or schools in the SWAC isn't worth the $1 million a year that they get from Byron Allen and HBCU Go. I'm not saying they're not worth that. I can say their brands are worth more than that. Yeah. But it's 30 times more than they were getting from ESPN. It's 30 times more with a chance to re-up. The famous quote from The Wire. When Byron came and paid that money for the SWAC, the price of the brick went up. And so therefore, with the price of the brick now being 12 million, the next person who wants wants games to air SWAC games, whether they feature Jackson State, TC Taylor, Hugh Jackson, Grambling, Willie Simmons, FAMU, and even basketball and all that other stuff too, but we ain't talking football right now. Yeah, you're going to have to start at 12 million. You're going to start at 13 million a year, and we'll have a bidding war. That's what the conferences, the big boy conferences do. They have bidding wars. They don't just say, we gotta go with them because we've always done business with them. Nah, that's cool. We always done business with them. The ESPN always had, I think it was Big Ten games. But then CBS came through and said, we'll cut a check for the Big Ten. And guess what? The Big Ten will no longer be on ESPN anymore after this year or whenever that deal kicks in. And so it's like, yeah, we're going with the highest bidder. And now our value, we went from a $40,000 company value to a $1.2 million company evaluation. And now in our next contract in 3 years, we hope to be a $3.5 million evaluation, or maybe a $5 million evaluation. I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. We can't act like that isn't a good starting point. Now, the thing is, I'm not disagreeing with you. 10 years is a long time for a media deal. It is. But it's not abnormal for smaller conferences to sign 10-year deals. That's not abnormal. It's not out of the norm. You know what I mean? 10 years is a long time. I'm not disagreeing with you. But we have to say the same thing. Like they signed a 5-year deal where they was getting pennies. They signed a 10-year deal. Man, you're making a nice little chunk of change. Wait, 30 times the amount you were previously making. Now, you said we're not going to that. Well, what makes you say that, though? Why aren't you? Like, the contract's already been signed. The contract has already been signed, so you can't say they're not going to the highest bidder. They just did it. Byron, HBCU Go, those folks, they were able to finesse a few games away from ESPN, and they paid. They were the highest bidder. That's why they were able to get $12 million. If you're selling, show me someone else that was offering the SWAC a $120 million contract. We just looked at the other people that were offering them contracts. They were offering them $400,000 a year pre-Deion. Then it went to $760 with Deion. Like who's offering more money than that? Said they have to get everything in order to be able to walk away from infrastructure. Absolutely. And see, and this is the beautiful thing. This is the beautiful thing. Because you do. Jamie is absolutely right. Now you have to show you have 3 years to get it together. You've got this season, the 23 season, the 24 season, and you got into the summer of 25. Summer of 25 to get your act together. You get 3 years. That means some of them janky cameras that we watched on ESPN Plus, you got to get that together. That means some of them janky cameras at some of these schools, you got to tighten that up. Now, the beautiful thing, if you're able to cut this a real deal, like you did with HBCU Go, they have their own cameras. HBCU Go got their own cameras. HBCU Go got a camera crew, got a Hall of Fame broadcast crew. Charlie Neal, a legend. Now, if you're able to cut a deal to where they provide, now I'm not gonna say that's probably not possible, right? It's probably not possible, but I mean, if we can imagine, we can dream that can happen. So HBCU Go and ESPN on. Who's the other? I mean, who's in? Oh, so you're talking about League Pass? Okay, so so let's throw them in there. So HBCU League Pass, I think is what she's getting at, right? Urban. I don't know if they're frauds. I don't know if they're frauds. Now, I'm not willing to go that. I'm not willing to say that. I'm not going to say that they're fraud. I don't know that. But what I do know is that if they want to, so that's the thing. You have to, like, when you're dealing with media, the media entity bids on the company or bids on the media rights. Like, so unless League Pass has 120 million, like at this point, League Pass if they want to hypothetically do a 10-year deal like HBCU Go did, they're gonna have 200 million in the bank because the contract is gonna have to be over 120 million if we're just doing 10-year deals, or it's gonna have to be more than 12 million per. I'm not in their pockets. I don't know how much money they got, but I do know Byron Allen got a whole lot of money. I don't know if the League Pass guys got 12 million per year or 13 million per year to pay the SWAC to get their primary media rights deals. Probably gonna start at like 15 per year. So think about this, y'all. Think about this. You're gonna go for 400,000, right? 400,000 in just 2019. By 2025, you're going to be making upwards of 25 to 30 million from your media rights. 25 to 30 million in your media rights. Because you're starting at 12. The likelihood, you're probably going to get somewhere between 15 to 17 per year to go with your 12. 15 puts you at 27 million. 17 puts you at 29 million. So you're going to get between 25 and $30 million starting in 2025, strictly off media off content. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, so yeah, don't get me, like, I'm not disagreeing. The former contracts were bad. They were bad. But what it did is it set you up for a brighter future. The future is bright. The future is bright. We can't act like the future ain't bright. The future is bright. Hell, we'll take 13 million. Take 13. Your primary being 13, your secondary being 12, that's $25 million when you used to make 400,000. Think about, like, we can't pretend like that is garbage. You used to make 400,000 with 12 kids. You made $40,000 a year with 12 kids. You about to go to 2.5 million. We're going to put it in common people's terms. You made $40,000 per year. You had 12 children. $40,000. And somehow, some way you scratched, you clawed, you made it work. Now you're at 1.2 million, and in 3 years, you're going to be at 2.5 or more. In 3 years. So from 2019 to 2025, you went from 400,000 or $40,000 a year to 2.5 million in 4 years. In that's terrible math. In 6 years. Sorry. In 6 years, you went from making $40,000 to 2.5 million, or in these terms, $400,000 to at least $25 million per year. I'm just trying. I don't know. I don't know. Anybody got anything to say about this? I just had to lay it out because the original deal, you can call in here and I'm listening. I'm listening to all people. I want to hear from any and everybody that has anything to say. But to go from $400,000 to in just 3 short years, you'll be making over 25 million per year. This ain't 25 million one lump sum. This is 25 million per year from 400,000. That sounds like a stroke of genius to me. That don't sound like somebody who don't know what they're doing. That sounds like somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. Sounds like somebody that understands how media rights works, that understands how business works, that understands that, hey, we might have screwed up initially, but we bounced back pretty tough. We bounced back pretty damn tough, pretty hard. And just like if you exceed those expectations, just like you did when you signed Deion with ESPN and they went from 400,000 to 700,000, I'm sure if you exceed expectations with HBCU Go or whoever you get your primary deal with, when it comes in 2025, you can up the ante on that too. You can up the freaking ante on that too. I don't know. It sounds pretty brilliant to me. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Maybe I'm. And so, okay, what are other S? This is beautiful. This is a great question. What are other S? We don't even have to limit it to FCS. We don't even have to limit it to FCS, meaning the non-Power 5 schools or the non-Group of 5 schools. We can go the Group of 5 conferences. The Group of 5 conferences, Sun Belt, Conference USA, their primary deal doesn't even pay them $1 million per year. Their primary deal isn't $12 million as a collective per year. It's not. We looked it up. We did it on this channel. It's not. And so therefore, you're making, with your secondary deal with HBCU Go, you're making more money than some of the Group of 5, 85 scholarship schools are making from their primary deal. Come on, y'all. Like, they're not making what you're making from your secondary deal, with your primary deal up for bid in 3 years. They're not making what you make from the secondary source of income. That primary source of income goes up for bid in 3 short years. Please, anybody, you can call in if you think I'm just blowing smoke, if you think I'm just making stuff up, if you think I'm just saying bull jump, bull jive, BS, whatever. This is called good business. This is called good business. And that's the thing. When you go up, when the ESPN contract is done, you already have the framework of your Go contract, and then you have a bidding war. You can take in Apple, Amazon Prime, ESPN, CBS, Turner, League Pass. Go can try to double it up. Whoever. But that is, you now have what's called leverage. What's going on your own with Jeff? Hello.
Wow, man. Hey, what's up, bro?
What's going on? What's on your mind?
Hey, man, I wanted to say first off, not to mention names, but the other brother just has a slant on everything HBCU or SWAC, and it just comes off negative. But the way that you break it down, it is genius. It is genius.
Sound like genius to me.
I mean, that's like a $1 billion increase.
Come on.
That's like Google stock that you bought back in 2006.
Come on.
I mean, when the criticism that it garnered, had me feeling the kind of way like, yeah, people stupid. I mean, but as you break it down and as I look at the numbers, not that stupid.
No, not at all. It's not stupid at all, man. And that's the thing. Like, you just have to look at it from a grandiose perspective, right? Like, that's why I put it in layman's terms. If you made $40,000 and you had 12 kids, and then because the deal with HBCU Go was signed in 2022. So in 2019, you made $40,000, and then in 2022, you somehow you tightened up and you was able to make $1.2 million. Damn, that sounds pretty good. And then in 3 years after that, by 2025, you're gonna be making $2.5 million or more. Shit, it sounds like you're doing something right. It sounds like you're doing something right to me.
Hey, man, we need to support HBCU Go, bro. For sure.
Absolutely. I completely agree. But I just had to I just wanted to hear somebody else talk about it because I was reading and I was looking. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's when you originally see it, it's like, damn, the numbers are trash, and they are trash. But then when you see the progression, if you just stop and look at it in a snapshot, it's like, okay, yeah, that's garbage. But then you see the progression, and you're like, oh, I see what you're doing there. That works.
Exactly.
That'll work, man.
And a lot of contracts.
Talk to me. What you got?
I was just gonna say, just real quick, a lot of contracts are written that way so that they, increase over time. They don't all come with a big bonus at the beginning.
Absolutely. I
appreciate
you calling in.
I appreciate. Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Nah, we just chopping it up, man. We're just having just general dialogue about contracts. If you think what I said was stupid, if you think it was brilliant, just let me know. I'm listening. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. This is She Loves Me.
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm good. So I'm glad I was able to catch your show. Because I just wanted to put context to all this negative press about the ESPN deal and HBCU Go.
Yeah, talk to me.
So the person that's spewing all this negative information, they work with and for League Pass. That's number one. So of course you're going to have a biased point of view, and you're going to expose contracts and expose all this, but you're not exposing the lawsuit that one of the owners of League Pass had, where they had a court judgment of almost $3 million.
Oof.
And basically what happened is, which I'm going to paste that document in the chat when I get stationary. Basically, one of the owners, he had a different company several years ago, and he told a company, we're going to broadcast your game, so you get somebody to film it. We're going to take the game, we're going to broadcast it for you, and you're going to get revenue from the broadcast. And he purported to have certain broadcasting deals and sponsors. Come to find out, it was all fraudulent. He was putting like logos on letterhead to make it seem like that he had this relationship with these companies, and he didn't. And the settlement was for well over $3 million for basically pretending to have certain relationships with CBS and a whole bunch of other different sponsors, and it was false.
Ooh.
And he didn't, and that's Mr. Pelt, that's his name. And I'm going to paste the lawsuit in there. So let's put this into context. It's a reason why you see and hear so much negative stuff about the commissioner and so much negative stuff about these rights, these media rights, and all this, that, and the third. Like, let's put it into context and let's call a spade a spade. If you're going to expose everything, then expose the owner of HBCU League Pass. Like, don't sit up there and pretend like he doesn't have dirt as well. Like, the commissioner, I would agree that some things, as far as putting all of your eggs in one basket when promoting Prime, that the focus should be more so on HBCU culture and some of these really big games that we have. So as far as HBCU Go and that opt-out clause, I find that interesting.
So I don't know about that. What do you? Because I did see somebody put that in the chat. What is this? See, I'm just telling you, like I haven't done any investigative pieces. I just tell you what I know, but I don't know anything about that opt-out clause.
Well, I haven't really did the research on the opt-out clause, but I will say this: for HBCU Go and for League Pass, the difference between them and ESPN is ESPN does not need the SWAC to survive.
Very true. Very true.
So you're on the other end of the bargaining chip, which I'm sure ESPN within the last couple of seasons saw that certain games you're going to get a lot of viewers.
Yeah.
And we see the Celebration Bowl and you see that. But for HBCU Go and for Urban Edge Network or League Pass, they need the SWAC.
Yeah, fact. That's a fact.
So the bargaining tool that they're looking for when he says he has an opt-out clause for HBCU Go, well, from you, I need to see more than just one game being broadcasted in a weekend or more than one basketball game. It just can't be one game, and Byron Allen has the money. So if I'm the SWAC and you're saying that you want to see if it's profitable, I need to see more games.
Absolutely.
Like, it's good to be able to see one game, but there's multiple games going on.
Well, let me push back on that some, and I like this. I love this dialogue, but this is my pushback though. It's not. I'm not. And once again, I don't know anything of the inside workings of HBCU Go. But what I will say is that this was their inaugural season, right? So this was the fall of 2022 was their inaugural season broadcasting games, and so. Yeah, both basketball. I mean, both football during the fall and now basketball. And obviously they only put together the means and capability to put out high quality broadcasts for one per weekend. We can get on and say we need to see more. Right. But once again, it was just their inaugural. Who's to say they don't feature 2 games this year or 3 games this year? You get what I'm saying? Like, who's saying that they won't grow, but they're giving time to grow. That's my only pushback. Yeah.
Right. But my pushback with that is they're saying there's an opt-out clause. So if he doesn't feel like it's profitable, he can just pull out.
I just don't know nothing about the opt-out thing. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I don't know nothing about that. I got you. Okay, I got you.
So I just would say that, because the production is great, I would even push back on Byron Allen even more because this HBCU Go and what it is and what it could be for HBCU culture. I see that he's getting ready to drop like a documentary about fist gymnastics and stuff like that. I mean, the commissioner should be pushing for HBCU documentaries or documentaries on the HBCU coaches, not just sitting there. You have an actual broadcasting network. We need to be utilizing it for more than just basketball games. I need some documentaries too. And that will be kind of like what Deion did, which is he had people doing the documentary and then he sold it to a network.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, they need to be trying to get more stuff. Like, let's not stop there.
I agree with you 100%. I just think those things, now this is me guessing. This is not me having conversations. I just think those things are coming. I think this was an initial, trial run, right? And we saw the success of it, the quality of the games, as far as the broadcasting, far as the broadcast production, the lower thirds, the graphics, everything was beautiful. And it was like, yo, we have to, like, now that we've seen, because if it was a joke, we wouldn't be asking for more. If it was garbage, we'd be like, yo, improve the garbage. But now that we see, like, yo, they do a really good job, now we want more. And I think now I don't know this now, but this is what you're saying. Yeah, the commissioner needs to be at the negotiating table, need to be on the phone with Byron or whoever, Curtis, Byron, whoever, and be like, yo, y'all do a great job with that. Now it's time to expand. Now it's time to continue to push, nationally and globally, continue to build our brands, because you guys do such a good job that I think you can do an even better job. Well, I will say, though, I did see now, because I was on the HBCU Go website recently, I did see that they did do some other feature type of events. Like, I think they had the DJ Envy thing, and he went to FAMU, and he went to some different homecomings. So that's one piece that they're doing, right? That's one piece that they did, as far as I know. He went to FAMU, he went to St. Augustine, I think he might have went to a few other schools, but they've dropped those. And so they feature different SWAC schools in that capacity. And now you want to continue to see them expand. Absolutely. I completely agree. So I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I do think those expansions will come, just as in including the expansions of games broadcasted during a weekend.
Right. I just want for the commissioner, like, you literally have a broadcasting network. So if you need to get Walmart on the phone, because they did have a YIHBCU type of deal going on, get them on the phone, get the sponsors, let's ride this thing till the wheels fall off. Now, as far as League Pass goes, I looked at their website. It's a great idea. I like the idea, but for me, it just wasn't up to par with. When I look at HBCU Go and I look at League Pass, they're not in the same vicinity right now. They would have to really improve on the graphics. It looks like something from MySpace. Now the concept is great, but like, just the look of it, I don't like it, and that's not even on no hating stuff.
It's just your opinion. Yeah, I mean, you can't be mad. Now, the thing is, like I said, I don't know. This wasn't like, this broadcast really wasn't a bash League Pass. Now, you came with the whole fraud stuff. Now that's fun, because I don't know nothing about that. I have seen you actually drop the receipts.
I literally actually have receipts.
I've actually seen you drop the receipts. They're on Twitter. She loves D on Twitter. You can go on there. Now I've seen that, and I think that's funny. And I didn't make this to kind of point the finger at them. I'm just saying, if you now nobody specifically said, hey, they need to go to League Pass. So I'm not gonna say it. Well, at least I haven't seen that. So I'm not gonna say anybody said.
No, but what
okay, talk to me.
I've noticed that there's been certain entities that will promote, we need media rights, and then they point you in the direction of Urban Edge Network and HBCU League Pass, and everything in the milk ain't clear. Or they're promoting that the SWAC and the commissioner is getting sued. And okay, so you want to show the documents for him getting sued, show the documents of the HBCU League Pass owner, Pelt, show the actual judgment that was against him. Like, let's be fair. Put everything in context. And I did that, and I got blocked. So I must have hit a nerve somewhere regarding that information. So it is what it is. But I'm gonna listen to the rest of your show. Thank you for having me on. And I love this show. I love the breakdown that you're doing, explaining it. It puts everything into context, which is what I'm all about, is context with the facts.
Absolutely. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, and that's really, like, you can call in, the numbers on the screen, but like, that's the whole purpose of this show. It's not to bash any entity. It's not even really to, I mean, well, we are kind of bigging up Go, because they kind of set a standard. They set the bar to a level that now can't go under. You can't go under this level. If our secondary deal pays us $12 million per year, I don't care if it was for 50 years, right? It's $12 million per year, when we were only getting, just in 2019, just 4 short years ago, we were only getting $400,000 per year from our primary and sole income, sole source. We were only getting $400,000 per year. And in 3 short years, we flipped $400,000 to $12 million from our secondary source. And in 3 years after that, we will be able to flip that $12 million per year to $25 million per year at the minimum. That's at the minimum, people. That's at the minimum. I say that sounds like good business. I say that sounds like some people who know what the hell they're doing. I say, bravo. And that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, my name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. This is here with the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on Jeff Lightsy Jr. YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, on wherever at JLightsy7, Instagram, Twitter, or wherever at JLightsy7. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out, and I will see you next time. Peace.